we will see a high level overview of neural network. What is a neural network? A neural network is a machine learning program or a model which mimic our biological brain, and our biological brain works by giving weighing or decision powers or decision weight to certain variables or inputs or scenarios that coming to our brain, and based on the weight we assign to each scenario we decide which scenario to be chosen. So the same function or the same way a neural network is also designed by giving the weighing mechanism to the input variables. So what are the neural network components? A neural network, each node in the neural network have input data which is having many input variables and also associated weights to each input variables, and a bias value or a threshold value and an output function. What is the purpose of weights? The weights really determines the importance of the input variables. Certain input variables are more important than other input variables for a given scenario or a given problem. So how do we give importance to input variables which is coming to this single node? By assigning higher weights. And the mathematical function used in this node is all inputs are multiplied by their weights and then a sum is find it out. And the output of this mathematical function is passed through a data science function called activation function that's really determined the outcome of this node, whether this node should be selected for the next processing or the outcome of this node should be avoided. That's determined by the activation function by comparing the threshold or bias value. Yeah, so if the output is exceed the threshold value, this node will pass to the next layer in the network, and passing this outcome of one node to the next node or next layer in the neural network is known as feed-forward network. This is the same way our human brain is also works. And if we see a pictorial representation of the neural network, this is how it will look like. For each node, we have one or more input variables and a weight assigned to each input variable. For x1 input variable, we have w1 weight. For x2, we have w2. So if we want to give more importance to x2, the value of w2 will be higher than w1. That's the point. And once we multiply the x1 with w1 and x2 with w2 and then adding these things, we get the summation of result. Then we pass this result of mathematical formula to an activation function that will decide whether this output of node should be passed to the next node through the output layer, whether the output layer should be decided, a deciding factor for this scenario. And we could see it's having the similar mechanism of our biological neuron. It is also having so many signals which will receive the inputs, and it will pass the outcome of this thing which is processing here in the central part, which will pass to the next layer in the neural network. The similar way, we have many input variables coming or input stream is coming, and the weights is just to give importance of which input is having more importance, and the summation function then pass to the activation function that decide whether the outcome of this node is really important or relevant for the calculation of this scenario. So if I want to give you a real life example of this neuron, let's say we are going to decide whether to have an ice cream today or not. So one of the input variable will be, is it I am healthy or not, and it's having a very high weightage. The second input variables to this activation or to the neural network node would be, is it a sunny day or a rainy day? If it's a rainy day, then there is a less chance. So for the sunny day, also will give a higher chance. And the third variable would be, is it I am going with kids or not with kids? So that may not have that much high importance, but still have some importance, right? We would like to have ice cream with kids or friends. But the more important things are, is it healthy, plus is it a sunny day? So based on this, if we have positive values or yes values for health and sunny day, the chance is that the activation function will decide, yes, there is a high probability that we are going to have the ice cream today. If we decide that no, this one of these field is no, then there is a high chance that activation function will decide that we are not going to have the ice cream today based on the threshold value defined here. So that's about the neural network.